And a warm welcome back to you, my nautical friends. How are you? Hope you're well. And of course you are now on the boat, and we're just going to discuss what we are going to do next. The video's going out tonight. You'll already know that because you would have already watched it by now. But the point of this is I'm hoping that you will tell me your thoughts on these, because I'm not going to do anything to them until you let me know. I have stained them just to give you, well, just to see what they look like, and I think they're looking pretty good. But that doesn't mean to say that they have to be used. So I'm hoping that some of you will give me some constructive ideas on whether I should keep those or I should move on and have some stainless steel ones. So what are we going to do in this episode? Well, it's all about that box, and I think it's going to be that diesel heater. So I've cleared the decks, as you can see. It's all hoovered up and everything's looking clean, and we can see the wood for the trees. And I'm thinking that the main diesel tank is underneath this piece of wood here. That's where it will go. It used to be there, and it's quite a big tank, and it sits there, and then that's the vent for it. And then of course there should be somewhere up there, there it is, that's where the filler is to pump some diesel into it. So we obviously don't want to be too close to that. I think we need to be something like over here somewhere. Now obviously we've got a vent there, which I think is useful because that will help us get rid of any, you know, emergency leaks or anything like that. Not that we want any, but we've got to think of these things. So I'm thinking that it might go somewhere over there. Now the crucial part of it is, and I'm going to get it out of the box and we can have a look at it, is whether it will protrude any further than this point here, because I don't want it to, because obviously there's going to be some type of covering that goes down there, and I want it to be behind there. And I'm hoping the depth, together with the piece of ply that I'm going to have to fiberglass to here somewhere, together with the bracket that should be here tomorrow, or well, hoping it's going to be here tomorrow, that will connect to that, and then the heater will then sit on there. And it's, well, we're going to have a look now. So I'm going to prop you up on a stand somewhere over there, and we're going to unbox it, and then we're just going to have a look. So stay tuned. Right, I've opened the box and pulled it out. So at first I thought I'd try and place that sort of there, but it's just about too, well, it's just too wide, so it can't really go there. But then when I had a look at the instructions here, it shows a diagram of where things, I'm assuming, should be spaced out, and you can clearly see that the tank, which is that, is higher than the actual heater itself, which actually plays into what I'm thinking now perfectly, because as you get lower into the boat, then of course it gets wider, which means that then that would then comfortably fit somewhere around there. So there's a possibility, if I just put you on that stand, like so, there's a possibility that maybe we could do something like, I mean, this, nothing can protrude any higher than these two beams here because these are the original beams. So providing that, whoops, nearly lost it then. Let me just have a look. So you've got that depth there. Okay. So maybe something like, I can't go too close that way because the there's a big tank that goes there, the diesel tank. Maybe if it goes sort of like that there, maybe that would work. I mean, I think that's where the fresh air needs to. So they would have to go that way, because I'm thinking that in order to get actual air, we could extract air from that vent there, really. So maybe that could go sort of like somewhere around there. Then you'd have your exhaust and your fuel intake scooping underneath. You've also got to consider being able to get at it and service it if there's any emergencies. And then the heat pipe that goes into the boat can go through this bulkhead here, down underneath the floor, and then straight into the boat that way. So maybe that's a possibility. And then that could be up here. It's higher, slightly higher than the it will be higher than the actual thing itself. And then maybe I could put this on a pivot, put a board and some brackets at the other end, and have that so when it needs filling, I could open it's like a drawer unit, and then just pivot this out, fill it, and then pivot it back. Maybe I could do that. Right, food for thought there. Put that back in there. Yeah, maybe it could. Maybe it could go sort of in this area here. Somehow. We need to get the bracket. I think that's the first thing. I mean, if it means that we come in this, we can cut. I suppose we could actually come in this way. We could actually put it here. Actually, there's no reason why we couldn't do that. And then have the tank further over here. No, we couldn't have it there because the seating would be there. I'd have to check. Maybe the tank needs to be there, up there. Which actually lends itself to having all the diesel, because yes, I know I can hear my dad screaming down the camera now at his iPad saying, why don't you put a connection into the tank itself? Yes, I could put yes, you're right, I could do that, but at this moment in time I'm thinking I would use that. I just think it would be handy. And it's, you know, you can monitor how much diesel you're using. I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to be used like you use yours. I'm talking to my dad now. Like you use yours. You know, it can be that. You'd have a job to use all that, I think. Anyway, there we go. That's my plan of action. I think I'm going to wait for this bracket to come. I'm going to take this home and study it. I'm going to take a few pictures of around here, and then hopefully I can have a genius idea of where to put it safely. It's not going to interfere with the engine. All the auxiliaries, the gas, The batteries are all going to be over on this side. So this zone here, provided I can gain access to it fairly quickly, you see that's another point. If it is over there, it needs to be accessed fairly quickly. I'd have to have a provision whereby we could move the seat quickly, and then we could see the heater itself. I don't want it to get too hot in that area, that's the only thing. I want to be able to see it. Ideally I would have loved to have been about here, but personally I just don't think, unless I build this out a bit, I don't think it's going to go there. But you know, I'm only surmising at the moment because the bracket hasn't arrived. So there we go, enough talk. What can I do now? There's not much I can do really, it's late. Well, I think I'm just going to pause it for now, and I'll come back. It's Friday at the moment, so that video is going live at 8 o'clock tonight, so fingers crossed somebody would have given me some comments with regards to that, those threshold plates, and yeah, we'll just have to debate what we're going to do with that. So there we go. I will see you, well, the next time I switch this on, which I don't know at this moment in time what I'm going to do next, so stay tuned. Monday the 9th of March. Good afternoon to you both. That is all three of you, which is, thank you very much, Gord for your input, Ian for your input via the email, and Jade Cycle, thank you very much. So Gord is going with the wood at the moment, which is the threshold plates, as is Jag Cycle. Thank you very much for your input. These are needed, you know. It's not just a case of just throwing out a question just to get some sort of a response. Whenever I do something like this and I say I require your input, I really need your input, because I will go with a consensus. That's what I do. I did it with something else in there, can't remember what it was, and this is the same occasion. And Ian, you're going with the metal, so there you go. So at the moment it's 2 to 1 for the wood. I will give it till Wednesday, and then I will crack on and make that decision to go with the consensus, and we will then put that to bed. Of course, if it was metal in the end, we could always change it to metal in the end, or vice versa, depending on whether metal wins it. But I'm happy either way. I do quite like the wood, but equally I was always going to go with the stainless steel. So there you go. I'm 50-50, hence the reason why I'm asking for your help. Right, that little bit out of the way, finally, I've waited and waited and waited, and about an hour ago, Amazon popped up with this bracket here. Now I've put that wooden rule there because ultimately that is where the sides are going to be that cover the whole of the boat. Obviously there's going to be seating, there's going to be a backrest there, there is going to be seating over that compartment, and over the engine. Ian did point out that the tub, question where the tub finishes. Now I know where the tub finishes. The tub actually finishes around here. It doesn't go any further, you know, it doesn't go all the way to the back or anything like that. You can see the actual depth of it there. Obviously that is where you walk into the boat itself, and that is the edge. So that edge there finishes around here. Not that that helps me actually, because ultimately I've got to figure out where this is going to go. Now that is quite a wide item, and this, I've just checked, does actually fit there like so. Only just, mind. But that's not necessarily the issue. The issue is that wherever this gets fitted, the actual diesel, that diesel sort of has to be slightly above where the fuel lies. That it doesn't have to be completely above it, because it's on a pump and it gets extracted via the bottom, but it has to be sort of slightly higher. Now I was debating whether to put that a bit further that way, and I could do, but then I'm thinking, is it going to interfere with the seating area and gaining access? I don't think it'll cause any problem gaining access there. It certainly would here, because we've got to, as you say, Ian, at the end of the day, the tub sort of lies across here. So it can't go any lower than that, because we've got a diesel tank. And also I don't want to create an issue whereby when it comes to be assessed for the license, I don't want them to say, well, that's too close to that, or there's an element of a fire hazard, blah blah blah. So the question is, where do I start off? Oh, and also the exhaust obviously comes out of the bottom, but it also has to be lower than the actual diesel heater itself, for obviously the fumes to have to travel downwards and out of the boat. Now we have the exhaust to the engine that is over there, which obviously will remain, and I could put the exhaust sort of that way over there if I wanted. That shouldn't be a problem, but the air intake needs to be in a completely different zone to that, because we don't want, as the fumes exit the boat from the engine and the diesel heater, we don't want the fresh air vent to extract any of those carbon monoxide fumes from that area of the boat and bringing it back in and then sucking it and then throwing it into the cabin. So I've got to make sure that wherever I put the fresh air is away from over there, that area there. And at the moment, if I am planning on putting that over on this side and not this side, I don't think I've got room to put it this side. That's the only reason why I'm hesitant in doing it over here. We've got the gas situation over there, we've got the batteries underneath, which isn't really an issue, but this area here is going to have the fridge, so there's quite a lot of room that is actually taken up by the fridge area. And also I'm trying to fit via the gas a heater that comes out on a swing arm, so then you can have a shower. So that area is sort of taken care of as well. And you know, you could say, well, why don't you put it down in there? But the problem is the exhaust has to be lower, and if you go any lower, it's going to be taking in water. So I'm thinking the only real place it could go is sort of in this zonal area here. And when I mean this area, I'm thinking in the lines of maybe, I mean, ideally it would be nice there, but I'm just thinking, you know, are the powers that be going to say it's too close to that, even though it's got a tub above it? I was thinking maybe it could go there, but maybe it has to go there. The only thing is it gets, the depth from there to there gets narrower as you get to this point, as I've just demonstrated. If I just move that to there, it'll just stay put. Maybe it won't stay put. Stay. I suppose I could get away with it there. and then the exhaust can go that way, and then the air intake, I suppose we could sort of go over here, because as the boat's travelling that way, I know if you were moored up there would be no airflow from, mind you, the engine would be off, but as you were travelling forward, the exhaust fumes would be travelling that way, won't they? So, well, I suppose actually I could have a vent there, because the same rule applies, doesn't it? So that's the situation at the moment. And also, how do I attach it to there? Because the more I bring it out, I would have a bit of room, I suppose. Mind you, I could actually, in all fairness, I knew you were going to do that. I could actually trim this down, because all we want is the majority of it fitting that. I can't lift it with one hand. So it's either there, I've narrowed it down to either there or there, between that one or between that one at the moment. But I've got to make a decision, because I want to keep moving on it, to be honest. Because there's not really much else I can do in there now. That's about it. I mean, I could crack on with the wiring, but as you know, I keep avoiding the wiring. Yeah, right, well, I suppose I might as well talk to myself for the next 10 minutes and make a decision on where I'm going to put it. Because as I've always said in the past, every action has a consequence. So if I put that there, what are the consequences of it going there? That's the question. And I've got to make sure I get it right, because I don't want to go to all the work in fiberglassing that thing in place and then realising that something has to be higher or something has to be lower, or something's is too close to something. So that's where I'm at the moment. So there we are. I've opened up for today, and stay tuned and I'll let you know how I go on. Simple as that, really. So bye for now. Just another quick point as well. I've just come down here to measure the tub, because obviously we've got this part here that is raised from the floor level, which would have an impact on that side through there where the box is. So I've taken the size from there to see how far it comes from that bulkhead to heat out. And I've also taken the size from there to there, and from there to there. I think I know what that is anyway, because it's the full width of the boat. So but I'll just check it against the joists that are supporting this, if I can call them the joists. So I've taken those sizes, so I'm going to go back up there and just weigh up whereabouts, if I was having it above here, this level, then I would need to make sure that there was plenty of room. Well, saying there's plenty of room, that's the only room I've got to play with. So basically from there this way, and this part here is where you would be sitting with your feet being over here, and there's your hatch, of course. So it needs a bit of thought, does this. Anyway, it's got to be solved, whatever the problem may be. So I've got the sizes, and I will go up there and I'll just do a bit of measuring. See you in a minute. Tuesday the 10th. I did absolutely no work at all yesterday. Absolutely none. Because I just could not. Do you know when you have one of these days where you just sit like I did here? I just sat and stared over there, wondering where that is going to go. And every time I came up with an idea, it wouldn't work. So in the end I just gave up. I just couldn't, my head was getting fuddled, and sometimes you've just got to go, do you know what, I'm going to knock this on the head. I'm just going to go home, have a cup of tea, go to bed early, wake up and hopefully have a different attitude the next morning. Anyway, I did wake up in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning actually, and I decided that it would be a good idea to have a look at every single channel that had put a diesel heater in a boat. And that's what I did, and I spent from 2 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock this morning doing that. So if I start yawning, forgive me for it, because I'm definitely going to be knackered today, because I just watched every single type of video I could, because what's been causing the headache is the exhaust being higher, or trying to get the exhaust lower than the actual diesel heater, which is what it says in the instructions. And I'm not conscious of the fact that I mean, I personally, I don't like these heaters because of how dangerous they are. They are effective and good, and done right, you know, they are good heaters, but it's the carbon monoxide and everything that goes with it. They are dangerous, and they've got to be done correctly. With a boat, it's different, because you haven't got the depth, you know, unless you've got the QE2 with a 40-foot side of a hull that you can put the diesel heater up there and put the exhaust downwards, because it's all about, as I've been watching them, and I've read every single comment of each individual video, because, you know, it's okay watching a video, but you don't know whether they've done that right. So then you've got to check down the comments to see if anybody, you know, you'll get, oh, well done, yeah, that looks good, this, that and the other. But then, you know, you don't know whether those, I was getting myself into a right spiral of checking to see whether the comments, somebody would stand out in the comments saying, well, I used to do this and I used to do that, and they used to be knowledgeable, and they used to, you know, put them in boats. And then you would read that comment and go, ah, right, okay. So I've come to the conclusion that yes, you can have the exhaust lower than the diesel heater itself, but somewhere along the line you're going to have to put like an escape for the condensation. I think that's the right thing. And I looked on certain websites where they did accessories for the German product, not the Chinese product, the German one. And there are such things as a bleeder for condensation. So I think if that's the reason, I think, other than the exhaust fumes themselves, I think that's the reason why they want you to have it on a slope going downwards, so then the condensation bleeds out of the boat. And also, I thought, well, you've also got to have the piping sort of without too many kinks in it, because you can get hot zones, and the hot zones can be an issue for the heater itself. You can sort of lose the life expectancy of the heater at the same time by having too many kinks in it. So I've come to the conclusion that over there is not going to be the place where I can put that heater. I think I'm pretty much now decided on that fact. So I'm thinking now that the next best place for the heater is somewhere around here. Because if I have the heater in this direction, so I can have the fresh air leading out over there, and then the heater only has to travel that far to go into the boat. So I think it's got to go somewhere around here. And also I've decided that I need to change the diesel, I forgot what they call it now because I'm tired, that, change it for a different shape, and which is what I'm going to do. And then maybe buy some accessories to adapt this idea that I could have a diesel tank. That's what I wanted to find, the diesel tank somewhere else round here, because we've got the main tank going there, and if we have the separate tank going somewhere around here, then I could then decouple it and then fill it up and put it back in. So I think that's probably the best place for it. So that's what I'm going to tackle. I know it's taken a while for me to explain myself, but it needed explaining. I mean, you can see I put marks here where the tub finishes. Well, the tub finishes there, and then this raised section finishes there, and I thought, well, we could put it there, but it's just not going to work because the piping's going to be, there's going to be too many acute right angles with the piping, and I don't think that's going to work. And I don't want any problems, because at the end of the day, you know, I'll have family using this boat when I'm not going to be using it, and with the carbon monoxide and things like that, yes, I'll have those alarms and things like that, what have you, but I just don't want any unnecessary worries about these heaters. I want to make sure I get it right and it's as safe as I could possibly get it, and I think that's probably going to be the best option, is to go along this beam here, somewhere along here, because the hatch, as you can see there, if you can imagine that tub being on here, the hatch is around here, so you could lift the hatch, you can gain access to that heater, you can gain access to the tank itself and everything, and you can service it and you can do what you have to if there's an emergency. So I think the most favourable position is going to be there, and that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get some ply and I'm going to start creating some place to put it round there, and you will follow me as I'm doing it, so stay tuned. Right, after much deliberation, I'm going to try this place for it there. And I think we might be able to get away with that. I'm assuming it goes that way around. Like so. So assuming I've got this the right way around, I've got the instructions, and unfortunately they're at home, so I can't see whether that's meant to be the other way around. I don't think it is. I'm sure that that's possibly where the heat, the fresh air goes in and the heat comes out this way, which is obviously the way we want it. But I'm thinking maybe this can go that way up through there and then bolt it to there, because they're going to have obviously a vent there and fresh air could come in there, and it could come in from there into that pipe into there, and then it can go down and we can have a gradual turn into where we want to have it finishing. The only grey area that I've got of some concern, but you know, looking at other people's videos, they've put them underneath beds in tight spaces, and obviously these mustn't get overly hot, but my main concern is where the steel, there's a diesel tank going right there, so whether I put another divider there and then put some fire retardant stuff across there or not, as a belt and braces job, I don't know. But I think for a starter for 10, I think that's probably a good place for it. And I've not screwed it into place. I have used stainless steel nuts and bolts and attached it properly, so that's not going to move. They will have to come undone before that's going to move. So I think that's the first starter for 10, I think. Now, moving on to the filters, not the filters, the pipes that go with this. Personally, I don't think these are long enough, because I'm wanting to, as it comes, the pipe comes out of the bottom of here, I would like them to go underneath here with a hole through this board under there, with the exhaust coming out of here where the engine is, and then maybe coming out close to where that comes out, somewhere around here. Maybe a little bit lower. I'll have to just establish where the water line is. Somewhere down here, possibly. And I think that would be a good exit. And the fresh air that comes in, the actual air that comes into the combustion chamber, which is this pipe here, this could literally go through here as well and just vent in round here, because that doesn't need to go to a fresh source of air, simply because that is air that's going to be burnt in the chamber. So that can stay that sort of size. But I'm going to take this home. Why am I taking this home? I don't need to take this home. I don't need to take that home. I'm going to take this home, and I'm going to take this ducting home, because I want to order enough for this ducting to go that way, up to there, like so. There, and of course I want ducting then, if I take you off here, I want the ducting to go from there, maybe across here, and then I can then channel it, I can then hang it from there across there, and then it can then hit a junction, come down, and then I think personally it'll come out through the, if I can show you the front, where that step is there. I think that at the front of that step, I'm sure that that sort of goes like so, and it can come out of there. Now, yes, there is a door there, but I think we can work with the door somehow. Yeah, I'll have to figure out that little bit. It's either that, or we move the we come through somewhere different, maybe through here, possibly, because the pipe size is like that sort of size there. There might be a chance of it coming through like that, and then we can angle the vent coming in there. There's definitely a way of doing it, that's for sure. So I think for starters, that's good. Fuel filter, I think will have to go somewhere underneath here, on an angle, 30-degree angle, because it can't be straight up and it can't be flat. I think it's 30-degree because of it trapping air. So I've managed to suss that out. So all in all, I think we're on the right track. So stay tuned, I'm focused today. Right, none of the pipes are in the right place, so don't criticise the piping just yet, because some of the pipes in the car, because I don't want to forget it, specifically the exhaust. So when you see the dark coloured one, I know it's not on the right port, it should be on the rear one, but I'm just using it just to give me a guide on where the heat's going. So hear me out before you scream at me. Right, so the fuel was a bit of an issue because unfortunately these heaters, the fuel pipe is right in the middle of the air intake pipe that goes for the combustion and the exhaust. I mean, they could have put it sort of a bit further away from stuff, so it's in the middle and it's close to the exhaust, and I was going to be crisscrossing it. So my first protocol was, I thought, okay, I'll draw myself a right angle and I'll put a 35 degree angle, go that way. But when I put the, I need to get on my hands and knees, hold on. Imagine that black pipe there. Hold on, let me push this down. Here we go. Imagine this is the actual exhaust. It isn't, but I'm just using it as an example because that one should go on there, that one. So I'm using this as an example at the moment, okay? So if I had it there on the 35 degree, would that be acceptable to run the pipe, the fuel pipe, through there and up into there? I'm not so sure. So I've come up with putting the fuel pump there, still at the correct angle, but spiraling it behind this piece of wood, going through there, so then it's not interfering with this, it's not interfering with the other one here, because that's going to go that way and out, and it's cold so it can go close to that pump, that's not a problem. And then that, if I can just show you this side, will come out of the back and then come back through further down the line. And providing I have the hole spiralling in an upward direction from anywhere, from there especially, going that way, providing, which it clearly is, as you can see, and then coming out of here and going up into there, I don't think there'll be a problem with it. I think it would be okay, because ultimately I want, obviously, there be a feed from here coming down, and I think the tank could, in theory, live around here, this area here. I'd have to obviously extend these so they get bigger, because the big tank's going to go along there, and then I could put a portable tank on top of there, and then when it gets to a point where it needs filling up, because these portable ones have a built-in fuel gauge, so it makes sense having it around here. And I'm thinking the fuel tank could be living sort of here, so you could get through the hatch in there, pull it out, have a look, put it back if you don't need to fill it up. Now I can show you, now I can show you around the back of here. So I'm thinking the exhaust could come out of here, go across there and up into there, and this, I think, obviously this is crude, I'm going to extend the hole a bit, so I'll have a rubber grommet in there and a rubber grommet in there, so then this pipe doesn't get charred, chafed and damage it, so that would run smoothly. I might even put a pipe over this pipe as a protector anyway, and I think that would work. And then this was run through the pump down here and into wherever I decide the tank's going to live. There we go. I mean, we can always, once it's all set up, I can put a 12-volt battery down here, get the fuel set up, and we could try it, see if it works, see where the hot zones are. I think the most important thing of all with all this that's going in is making sure that the exhaust fumes are tight and out of this boat. That's my main concern. Right, I'll carry on. Bye for now. And a good morning to you. It is Tuesday the 17th of March and it's a beautiful day out there. Yes, it's been a while Not for you, of course, because this is just a flick of the page. But for me, being here, it has been a few days. And the reason for that is because I have been waiting for Father Christmas to give me some more presents. And he sent them via Amazon. Yes, and eBay, in the matter of fact. So there they are. Those there are for the boat. Namely, the heat thing. The heater. I forgot what they call it now. But anyway, I need to get those up there, and I'll meet you there too. See you in a minute. And welcome aboard and welcome back. So, first box, I'm going to have to do this fairly quick because I've only got 10% battery left, which is a bugger. Not to worry, I can stick it on charge, but it's just a bit of inconvenience because I left it here, hence the reason why it's got no charge. So, the first goodie of the day, as you can clearly see, is a new mobile tank. And the reason why I went for this tank was because it's low-lying. It's got a fuel gauge. It can be primed. And I'm thinking that, which I'll show you, on its own stand with straps will go nicely down here in front of the diesel tank for the rest of the boat, for the engine, etc. So that's the first bit. I think that's going to be a good purchase. Second thing, like everything on a boat, you can't just rely on the things that, you know, that heater came with flexible hosing and things like that, but they were just short pieces. So I had to buy longer lengths of exhaust, and I've actually bought a new exhaust box as well, which is slightly elongated, and ergonomically I think that's going to be better fitting somewhere at that side of the boat, which we will get to. So that's the other bit. See, that's what you get. It's that big. Well, on a boat everything needs to be custom designed, and that's just not long enough for what I want it for. So we've got some more exhaust, and also that's what you get in the box, which no real use to me. So we have also, so we've got an extension for the digital display. So then that enables me, I think that's about 1.80 meters, is it, or 2 meters? Oh, 3 meters. So that now gives me the chance of connecting to the heater itself and the whatever else I need to connect to, and then that can go inside the boat on the bulkhead here, and you've got the display on the inside of the boat. Then I have got this little trinket. Shove that in there for a minute. Can't remember what this is. Oh yes, this is a heavy-duty improvement on the fuel pipe that came with that particular one. It's a cheap, nasty one, and this is a lot harder and more durable. So we've got a better pipe for the fuel, so that's good. And finally, we have, well, in this batch I have ordered some other things, clips, etc. We have got that, which I think expands to 3 metres. Does that expand to 3 metres? Blimey. Well, that expands to 3 metres, so that's going to take care of the exit going, yes, the exit, and also leading into the boat, which is about 1.20 m from where that heater is, into the boat, wherever I choose to put it. So the only thing I am now waiting for are clips that go around these pipes so I can screw them into place, so then it's neatly out of the way, because I don't want it being trapped along the floor. So this is going to be where the hatch is. I don't want to put it on the floor so then you end up standing on it. I want it out of the way, and I'm going to create something underneath here so I can actually strap it to there. I've also got 90-degree sections as well, so then I can obviously change the angle of where it's going to go. So it's going to be going obviously this way. So we have got a few bits to come, but we're getting there, which is the most important thing. So while I'm going to put this on charge for about 10 minutes, I'm going to unpack these properly and sort of get them in a sort of a half decent way that they're going to go. So until then, you go and have yourself a cup of tea or coffee, because do you know what? You've earned it. Okie dokie, well, I'll give you an update of where I am up to right now. So, there we go. I've started to put the wiring in. I'll best show you underneath first, I think. I just put that stick down to about there. Grovel on my hands and knees. So this is crude at the moment because we're just putting things in place. So fuel line is there. I was going to take it so it went that way and then double back on itself, but to be honest, I think I'll get away with that because I've made this hole slightly bigger, so I've got that flexibility now to put something in there that holds that central. This is going to be sleeved in a heat protection, because I want it to be protected against the wood, but also I want it to be protected from this pipe as well, because obviously that's going to have diesel flowing through it. And I think that there will be okay, and it will be okay distance wise to that. And if it, I mean, it's one of those trial and error things. If it does get too hot, and we can soon test it out, can't we? I mean, at the end of the day, we'll have this running before it gets on the water anyway. You know, I could put something across here that actually protects this whole thing, but that's at the right sort of angle, I think. And then I've run the cable, as you can see, that way, and each bracket has got a rubber grommet around it. So, and these are loose, so they are, you know, they're not tight in any way. So that gets fixed on there. There's still a pipe to go onto there, onto the tank, but slight issue with the tank side of it. Obviously this was designed for a boat with an outboard, and it's got that clip on it. Now I've got two options here. I can either cut this away and then attach it to with a reducer to the pipe that obviously leads off there and Jubilee it together, or I can look on Amazon to see whether there is a clip that goes onto there with a prong sticking out that you can actually then put a Jubilee onto it and have it, you know, nicely fitted correctly. So I'm going to have a look at that tonight to see whether I can do that, because you've got a primer there as well. You know, you can prime it into it. I know it's got a pump and it primes itself, but you've got that as a useful tool as well. Moving on to the exhaust, where that comes out of. as you can see, that will, let's move that out of the way a minute. So as you can see that comes out there like so, and that will sort of go like that on an angle and then go somewhere over there, through there and out, like so. The only other thing that I've omitted to, I thought that this would be okay, but to be honest, this is to take the air into the actual heater itself. So I'm going to order off Amazon something about 1 meter long, so then I can go that way, down there, out there, and then over there, because I think that is better than what that is, to be honest. So that's what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to order it, unless that, I found a pipe here, whether that could be used. Is that the same sort of size? Maybe it is. I'll have to check that. Might be that might be okay actually, because it's cold. It's all it is, isn't it? It's drawing in cold air to allow it to work, and it's got that on. Will that go on there? So sorry, no, it doesn't. Anyway, I'll have a look at that tonight. I'll just probably buy the correct thing, to be perfectly honest. I think it's pointless not doing it, but there you go. The wiring is continuing across there, and then so I've jubileed it on a rubber one there and there, and then I'm going to have these cables coming up here, and then I'm going to run a fillet of wood along there, round the back of there, and then that's going to then come round, and we'll probably have the display LED somewhere around here, because it's on a remote control, and you know, you can obviously see it from over there. Press the button and you can switch it off. So that's the idea. And because I've got it now on an extension I ordered, there is plenty there's plenty of cable now to go all the way around. The only thing I do have to do, which is this one black wire. This is an earth wire, which would probably lead to the battery. It's not a very long one, so I'll have to extend that, because the battery banks are going to be over on this side. So that's about it for now. So I'm a little bit stuck because I haven't got everything I need, and I think they're all coming tomorrow with a bit of luck. So I'll have to wait in for Amazon yet again tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to put those plates down, because we've had no more subscribers asking, and the consensus is there was more for the wood ones to go down, so the wood ones are going down. So I'm going to do that right now. So see you shortly. There we are, finally complete. I've used stainless steel screws in these. I was going to use black ones, but I just thought maybe they would look in keeping with the studs. Might as well keep the theme going as not. So I think that looks really nice. Yeah, they're going to get scuffed, I know they are, but the good thing about them is that you can over treat them, and if they get damaged in any way, well, you quite simply change them for something else. and they cost absolutely nothing to do because they were a piece of wood that went originally on the ceiling. So job complete. Another one finished. Right. Okay, well, what I will do now is, I'm running out of time to do some more work here, so I will go away and I shall investigate this clip. As you can see, it has a ball bearing in it, so I really need something that would clip onto there with a plastic extension bit that I can use to put a pipe on. So I shall go and investigate that right now. And then what we'll have to do is we will have to fiberglass some struts in to accommodate that tank there. I think that's going to be the next job. And also we need to extend it slightly so it comes out to here, because what I would like to do is have the that pipe will have to run down there somewhere, so it then comes out of here. That's the theory, unless I can get it to go midway, sort of between there and the floor somehow, and put some supports in for it so I can clip it to it. But we'll have to wait and see, I think. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with the way that that's coming together. I think that fuel system is going to be acceptable. I don't think we're going to incur some air pockets, which is a big no-no with these, apparently. So we'll take it from there, and I will see you, well, when I switch it on next. So until then, bye for now. Good afternoon. It is a Wednesday, the 18th, and it's 2:05 in the afternoon, and I've been yet again waiting for Senor Amazon to appear at my address, of which he has now done, because we have a few more trinkets from Father Christmas. We've got some 90-degree angles, we've got some supports for that type of thing there. What else have we got? We've got some brass fuel extenders and reducers, which we will need, and we've got some of these as well, which are extensions just in case I need something else. What else have we got? Can't remember now. I think I've got some more of those there, as you can see. 2 lots of those, just in case, because my plan of action now is, and I can show you, I unclip that and put you, excuse me Henry, I'm gonna have to go there for a bit. Put you down like so. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Right, so the idea is for either it to run down that way and then like so, along the floor, or I think we should go with what I originally thought, and that is have it like that. It's not this actual pipe, but it's that longer one, but that goes along there, and then I need to make a flat support and screw it to the underneath of this for then these to clip upwards like so as a support, and then that hopefully will travel along here and either go through there, which is now starting to look more promising, because I think round here, this area, I think it warrants going there. I mean, there is going to be a door on there, which will be coming out slightly. I never thought of that actually. It's going to be the thickness of that drawer, isn't it? Have I got anything the thickness of that drawer? Is that the thickness? Oh, I'll use that. Whoa! I just use that. And then the pipe. I bet it's quite tight, is that? Oh yeah, plenty of room. So imagine that being there. Can you see that? Yeah. That would then be like so. That hole would be, that's a circumference there. Yeah, I think that would be okay. Would it go down there? But then I'd have to put a bend in it. So I think if that tube came all the way along here, underneath here, and then went into there, or would it have to go behind that? That's in the way, isn't it? Typical. Do you know what it is? Right in the way. Unless I can get that to... Oh dear me. That is annoying. Trapped. So that support is just in the way. I don't know whether that'll... So I may even have to go back to my old scenario, and that's go through the fiberglass step through to there, which is okay to a certain degree, but you've got a door which would have to have a hole in it to allow for that, the air to come through. It's not really ideal. Oh dear, that is annoying. I'll have to think about that, guys. I'm sure there'll be an idea somewhere. It would mean... No, that is really in the way. I think the only way would be to cut that away, extend it, and then support it on this side. I think that's the only way I'm going to do it. Anyway, that's not your problem, that is my problem. Right, okay, well, that is immediately my issue, and I'm going to have to sort that out, so I will let you know if I do. Stay tuned. Right, after much deliberation, I have decided to go with the original, and that is up above. So, and the reason for that is I think I can work around it somehow by cutting into that brace and just S-shaping it into place. If I find that it's weak, then I can reinforce it. So I think that's going to be the best policy, rather than having the tube going on the floor and then having a hole in the door. I just think that that's going to be a better option. So with that said, I have made a piece there. I've rounded off the edges, as you can see, and I've given it a coat as well, so then it's nicely sealed. So we're going to leave that there like that, just to dry. And in the meantime, you know where the kicker board is, where the kitchen is, there is a piece of bare timber like that needs covering in ply. So that's what I'm currently doing while that dries. So I've used my favourite stuff, which is 1000 grade lining paper for walls, which is the cheapest and the most effective templating stuff you'll ever buy. And another top tip is, you know, obviously when you're cutting it in, you know, you tend to tear it, even though you're using, say, a Stanley knife or whatever. But what you do is, if you do tear it, just get some tape, because the tape is obviously got two straight edges, and then just make good your edges around so they're nice and square, like I've done there, there, and there. So then you've got nice straight edges. So I'm going to find a piece of ply now, and I'm going to cut that out to that shape, and that should just slot into place nicely. So that's my task. It's absolutely gorgeous out there today. Spring is 100% here now. I was coming here and it said it was about 68 or something like that, which was just brilliant. I mean, the warm air coming in here. We're into the t-shirts. Look, I'm into t-shirts. I'm into, how hard can it be? T-shirts, brilliant. Right, so I'll find a nice piece of ply, bit of waste, because I've got lots of it, and I'll let you know when I've done it. So stay tuned. Okay, just give you an up-to-date progress report. That is stained and finished. Never fails, that method of templating, because you get a really good finish. There you go. You can see that's as close as you're ever going to get. That's absolutely perfect. And that's using, as I say, that interliner that you put on walls. It's got to be sort of borderline cardboard to give you rigidity, but obviously there's going to be a threshold going over there, or something's going to be going a right angle of some form or another, just to finish it off. But you can see what I mean. It looks really good. It's very wet at the moment because I've just stained it. Moving on to this bit of a headache. I've taken the liberty of making that. I've taken the corners off because, knowing me, I'll probably chop my knee in half, or anybody else for that matter. So I've rounded the corners off so nobody's going to damage themselves. The only thing I've just got a reservation about is how acute that right angle is coming out from that burner. From what I can gather, straight parts are better than angled parts on these things, because as the burner's burning, it hits a wall and turns, and you create a very sort of a heat spot. So I'm going to have to monitor that. We're going to have to try it out. Once we've got it rigged up, we're going to have to sort of try it out. If it doesn't work, it's no great shame, because we can put a straight one on and we can make it come round on a gradual. We could do that. So I'm not overly bothered at this stage. We just need to sort of get it working. But you can see what I've done, and I think if there's a chance we might be able to curve it and bend it in there, but if we can't, I've thought about taking a section out of here just to allow it to get in so it's straight on the receiving cup that goes on the inside. So that's my theory. That's the way I'm going to try my best to get it to work. So I'll just show you underneath there. As you can see, it's belt and braces, I know, but I just want it right. I just don't want it moving around. And I might even, on here, on this bit here, I might put some sort of heat deflector, heat shield of some form on there as another precaution, because it's obviously that's going to be warm. So I've not screwed them in totally into place yet, because nothing's screwed into place. That's not screwed into place properly yet. I'm just getting everything fixed up. I've got some conduit coming with a split in it, you know, the black stuff that's corrugated, so then I can put that around these wires, and they're going to be trunked across there. So I'm going to put a fiberglass board across there, and then I'm going to be able to then screw some of these rubber clips to go along, and then it can come round and then come over here. So it's taking shape slowly. And also I've got some protective stuff to go around this exhaust, because as you can see I've made the hole big enough so then it's going to be in the centre, so it's not going to touch anything other than this wrap that I've got coming for it. So then that protects that. So that's it up to now. So I think what I might do is I might put this on, because I genuinely have got no idea how long this one is. I know I've done a lot of talking on this one, but it's been a right fiddly job. So you'll have to bear with me. But that, today, I'm very pleased with. I'm glad that's out of the way. I've got that one piece to do over there. I've still got that to do. But I just thought, while I'm in the mood to do that, I'll do it. It was a fiddly job, but you know, it's turned out really nice. And so far I'm happy with the way that that's looking. The only thing is, as I said to you before, is whether that is acceptable, being a 90-degree angle so near to the actual burner itself. That's the thing we've got to watch. Oh, I'll tell you what else I did buy. I bought the male clip to go on to this. So now I've got to find I've got to sort out a reducer to go onto there, and then that will then in turn go onto the fuel pipe, which obviously is not on there because I've not connected it up yet. So that will go onto there, and then we've got to, yes, I know what, we've got to put the brackets on here, because I want that to sit there next to the one that's next to the other drum there. I don't know whether that's a bit close. Actually, that might be too close to that. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Whenever you do anything on a boat, as I said to you many and many times before, whatever you do, there's always a consequence. When you've done an action, there's a consequence behind it, and I've just come across another one, but I don't think it's going to be too bad, even if I have to put in a blanket around that, or I could move it over there. I've got the batteries over there. I suppose I could have it over there, because the fuel line is quite long. Or, you know what? Oh no, I was going to say it could go in there, but it's next to the exhaust. I suppose I could tuck it up to there even. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for persevering. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Boat Extras. Thank you. Bye for now.